I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Wednesday.
A wild socialist has been spotted. Just like in Pokemon.
Wild, they're everywhere these days.
Yes.
They get their little flags out. By the way, I feel like I need to make a statement here because folks on Instagram have gotten a little fired up. Let's address this now.
And the fun part is this. Okay, now, everybody listening to the Jeff and Bill show, Jeff's going to describe the picture and everything else. Understand.
We're going to put it up here. I actually think that Adam has it.
That's going to be wonderful. So if you can join us, join us on the YouTubes.
That one's got a lot of comments.
Yes, this is a perfect example of people scrolling by, reacting, and not realizing what it is. All right, share the story, my friend.
All right, so I'm currently on tour right now all over the state of Colorado, and the title of the tour is "If We Couldn't Laugh, We'd All Go Insane," and it's a line from a Jimmy Buffett song, and part of the tour is making fun of the libs, and one of the things
you've got some good jokes too. I'm just telling you. There's some really good jokes.
One of the things I like to point out is that the libs get really worked up. I mean, very worked up if you want to put the 10 Commandments up in your classroom, but not if you put up their commandments, and they have commandments. It's called the 6 Commandments of Wokeness. And you might have seen their little flags outside of homes. All throughout the Denver metro area, white liberal women have their commandments displayed outside their home. It's a big effort to virtue signal. And I actually have one. I have one of the flags. I didn't steal it, don't worry. But it says, "In this house we believe that no human is illegal. Women's rights are human rights. Black lives matter. Climate change is real. Love is love." And then what I think is the penultimate foundation of the progressive worldview, kindness is everything. And what they really mean is tolerance is everything, because they interchange kindness and tolerance. But anyways, it's all part of a longer conversation about the 6 Commandments of Wokeness. Anyways, my friends down at the Bent County GOP took a picture of me while I'm talking about the 6 Commandments of Wokeness, and I posted it. And everybody on Instagram was like, Jeff is gone. Whoa.
Yeah, because it's a picture of Jeff, big giant smile, and he's holding the little flag. So at first blush, if you're just scrolling through this thing, if you're doom scrolling, you're like, eh? Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah.
And there's like 70 comments. What happened to Jeff Hunt? Oh, he's gone woke.
I know. That is so funny.
I have not gone woke. It is part of a larger routine. And yes, maybe I can clarify in the caption. But we'll post this video.
Nah, it's more fun this way. Much more fun.
And some people are like, whoa, how drunk am I?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. One of the other comments was, wrong day to start sniffing glue.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, shout out Airplane. Fantastic. Love that. Great movie.
So it's all part of a joke. We make fun of the Dems. I'm not embracing the 6 Commandments of wokeness.
No, but it's a great reflection on social media as well. It's fantastic. I
also actually went and printed this out. I contacted a company, and then I've got a little thing that I do where I pull it out, and it says Denver Hearts Immigrants.
Yes.
To remind people of how we got 40,000 of them.
Yep.
It wasn't like Greg Abbott was like, where should I send all these immigrants? Oh, yeah, the people with the giant banner that says they love them. We'll send them there.
Now, perhaps someone in the Jeff and Bill audience is intrigued hearing that Jeff's doing this tour and bringing a little bit of a chuckle into your organizations. How, per se, could they contact you, sir?
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Thorpe. Go to jeffhunt.com/tour.
You can find the picture, too, and comment on it. Yes,
yeah,
and then,
Jeff Hunt.
and ask him to come speak at your
/tour. I'll come speak. We'll have lots of fun. We'll make fun of the Democrats because, like the title of the tour says, if we couldn't laugh at this point, we'd all go insane.
And on a side note here, we've been hearing behind the scenes that people are just enjoying something that is a breath of fresh air in terms of it's not heavy. It's not talking to you about saving the world. It's not telling you that everything is crumbling down.
I'm not running for office. There's no campaign. You don't need to donate to me.
This is just about laughing at ourselves, laughing at the situation that we have found ourselves in, and trying to make the best of it as a community. It is the perfect holiday-type celebration. If you haven't booked yours yet, you're looking at something in the new year, you want to get your friends and family and the organization together, contact Jeff. It's going to be something without a lot of political pressure, but a lot of political laughter.
I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Iggy texting in, maybe a better name would be the Drunken Toddler Tour.
That sounds like a goal. I think we might have to go for that one.
Yeah, that's right. We've got Deep Singh Badhesha coming up because if the state couldn't get crazier, it's now about to, because the socialists are running a primary challenge against John Hickenlooper, and I think they actually have a real shot at this. We'll talk more about that with an actual socialist. Now it's time for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Wednesday morning, 37 and sunny in Denver. Beautiful morning. Expecting a high of 59 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, the Fed is likely to announce an interest rate cut today. Investors will be focused on what the Fed chair, Tulane Powell, says in his comments following the announcement. Powell could indicate this could be the last expected cut for now, citing current market and inflation conditions. 47 says his tariffs have brought in trillions of dollars to the U.S. and pushed companies to invest in the country. NBC's Peter Alexander reports he touted his economic agenda as he kicked off a national tour in Pennsylvania.
Test driving a new message to voters ahead of next year's critical midterms.
You're getting lower prices, bigger paychecks.
But while wages have ticked up, so have prices, especially at grocery stores where staples like beef and orange juice are up.
Polls show Americans say affordability is out of control, and a majority of voters are starting to blame DJT. Inmate advocates in Colorado welcoming an announcement from the DJT administration ordering the DOJ to investigate alleged abuses at Colorado prisons and youth detention facilities. Attorney David Lane has been fighting prison abuse cases for years.
If Payback to Polis gets that job done, okay, I'm good with it. But I am skeptical, yes.
It comes just a few weeks after the Colorado Department of Corrections and Governor Polis refused the president's request to transfer former Mesa County Clerk Tina Peters to federal custody. Lane tells Denver 7 News that he's seen a lack of adequate medical care and abuse in Colorado's prisons, especially in youth detention centers. The Colorado Correctional Department promises to work with the DOJ on fixing any issues they discover. After massive Somali fraud was exposed, CMS Administrator Dr. Oz will pull federal funding from Tim Walz's Minnesota if it's not cleaned up fast. Dr. Oz on Fox News Channel last night.
They've weaponized fraud and corruption. Talking with the CMS team that I'm blessed to work with, they say they've never seen anything like this as an abject dereliction of duty. And I think what happened, and just becoming clearer now, is that the Walz administration knew there was a problem. Whistleblowers were saying this money's being stolen. You gave a great number with autism. I can regale you with a bunch more. But nobody wanted to rock the boat because it turns out Somalians overwhelmingly vote for Democrats. They felt it would look bad for them to go after these people that they knew were guilty. And it was the Somalian community, in fact, that it finally came forward and said enough is enough. And we see people buying luxury cars, shipping money back to our home country, maybe even to terrorist organizations. And it was with that urging we finally found out what was happening. But here's the deal. President Trump's not going to tolerate this.
No, he isn't. One program's spending surged over 3,000%, and nobody said anything. Authorities have identified Jacob Lee Bard of Evansville, Indiana, as the suspect in the deadly shooting on the Kentucky State University campus. On Tuesday, one person was killed and one critically injured. Back to politics for a second. Miami's next mayor is a Democrat. Eileen Higgins beat out Trump-endorsed Republican Emilio Gonzalez in the runoff election. Higgins finished first in last month's election, but did not receive the majority vote needed to win outright. A Democrat win breaks a nearly 30-year streak of GOP control and gives another indication that voter sentiment may be swinging in the Democrats' favor. Higgins is also the first non-Hispanic mayor since the 1990s. Democrats have come away with victories in key races in Virginia, New Jersey, and New York this year. Now, I'm looking at this, and Jeff knows more about this than I do, but my guess here, just because Florida has had such an influx of people, and South Florida definitely conservative with all the Cuban Americans living there. But I just think that it may be from all the people who have moved in there from the, once again, blue states like California, and all of a sudden we have a Democratic mayor in South Florida. Who knows? And
did sorry, I missed that. But did the Democrat won? Huh?
Yeah,
wow.
the Democrat won
In Miami.
So
yep.
30 years. So I mean,
Good
that's
night.
my guess. I mean, but they're not. No one will say that. Do you think that's possible? That it's people who have moved from blue states into South Florida, possibly?
Yeah, here's Politico's headline: "The defeat of the Republican in the race who was endorsed by President Trump gives added momentum to Democrats in the 2026 midterm." I mean, so there's a natural bounce back that happens in politics every cycle, right? That we're constantly reacting to whoever's in office, and there's more energy on that other side. But golly, that's not good news for Florida.
No,
that is not good, and we see it a lot. And they're just dopes. I'm sorry, but they ruin one state. They move from one state to the next state. They go, gosh, I mean, you see it in Colorado right now, right?
Yeah,
they hate the direction of Colorado. They openly say they hate the direction of Colorado and then vote for Democrats again.
Yeah.
If they were rational to begin with, they'd be conservatives.
Right.
They're not rational people. They're highly emotional, and they're dopes. They just are.
Yeah. I agree. One more. Just get them. God. You get what you vote for. All right. The Avalanche fall to the Predators 4-3 the final, 35 in Castle. Billy, did you want to say something? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You sure?
Oh, yeah. I'm
okay.
fine. Yeah.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too.
All right. 35 in Castle.
You should see Jeff's face. That was so funny. Sometimes we just crush it, and that's it.
Oh, my God. I
did that for you, Jeff.
I love you.
35 in Castle Rock, 34 in Louisville, 37 in Denver. I love Candace, too. You're waking up with Jeff and Bill. Blake Olson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Other than some windy areas, and there will be plenty of wind along the Front Range and foothills and mountains over the next couple of days, we're going to be looking at mild, dry weather as all the significant weather stays to the north and east of us. Partly cloudy, windy at times, upper 50s and low 60s, low to mid 30s tonight. Mid to upper 50s Wednesday, near 40 Wednesday night. Temperatures will be 50s and 60s Thursday, trending a bit cooler for Friday and into the weekend, but the real cold stays away. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill show. All right. So my theory on where Colorado politics is that the big debate right now happening is between moderate Democrats and socialists over power and control of the state of Colorado. We Republicans we're like hanging out on the side of the gym, smoking cigarettes, like, not our circus, not our monkeys. I have no control in the state. Can't do anything with it. It's all yours. So they have all the power, and they are getting more and more progressive. And people, like, when I go give speeches, they're like, nah. I'm like, yeah, if you think that Colorado's like a socially libertarian state that still wants to protect Tabor and guns, sorry, the voters don't. Like, you might be able to hold on to Tabor, but at this point, the Democrats are running whatever gun bill they want to run. And it's passing. And if you remember in 2013, like, we primaried Democrats. Or not primaried, we recalled Democrats over the even whiff of any type of gun control. Now they do whatever they want and get to hold their offices. So Colorado's getting more progressive. 30,000 showed up for Bernie Sanders. And I know everybody, all the conservative world was like, oh, they're all paid. No. Maybe the organizers were, but you got a lot of true believers. So I think the direction of Colorado is more socialist. And a great example of that, a primary now for John Hickenlooper's seat from State Senator Julie Gonzalez. To tell us all about who she is and the direction of this primary, it's a good friend of the program, Deep Singh Badhesha, Democrat Socialist of America. Good morning, Deep. Thanks for joining the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yeah, good morning.
Hi, thanks for having me. Sorry that I'm coming in remote, but it's easier with our now 11-week-old baby.
Congratulations. That baby's going to make you conservative. Just watch. It happens. But
yeah, also, and on a parenting thing, they're going to warn you about the terrible twos. That's a lie. 3 is worse. Because 3-year-olds all of a sudden develop a very, very prominent id. And the entire world obviously revolves around them. So terrible twos, it's just tantrums. 3, oh, good Lord. But then by 4, it's like a Disney movie. It's like all of a sudden the 4th birthday sometime around there, the clouds part, sunshine comes out, you hear birds tweeting, and the child comes out and is like, Mother, Father, you're wonderful. How can I help you today? Can I give you love and kisses? Yeah, it is a night and day difference as far as the change. But just know that you're running through those 2s. They still got another year coming. Did you
say 11 weeks, Deep? Are you at 11 weeks?
He's at 11 weeks, yeah.
You getting any
11
sleep?
Weeks. Yep, 11 weeks. So we're definitely in sleep now. So actually, like this week, some like miracle happened. Besides progressives running for office in Colorado, the baby is sleeping 10 or 12 hours a night now. So last night she slept 10 hours. So it was nice. So I'm getting sleep, which is nice.
Yeah, I don't think you've ever looked so rested, Deep. That's great. All right, so you called this. You said that there may be a primary in the works for John Hickenlooper because the socialist progressive side of the Democrat Party not happy with him. So tell us all about Julie Gonzalez. Tell us about this challenge to the pale, male, and stale John Hickenlooper.
Yeah, so like I did hint this on your program, which was pretty funny that you didn't catch it. I'm actually going to hide the self view because there's like 2 of me now on my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what I was saying is, I kind of hinted this on your program that, someone younger, someone Latina was going to jump into this race, and you were trying to guess who it was, so I was surprised you weren't able to hone in. This was one of the worst-kept secrets in the progressive political circles. For a long time, people knew that Senadora Julie Gonzalez was going to run. So for your listeners who might not know who she is a absolute institution, an amazing state senator, represents Denver. She kind of came in this upset win in 2018 where a lot of people thought that seat was originally going to go to this gentleman named Dan Pabon or maybe a different kind of more conservative right-leaning Democrat. She came in. At that time, she was actually a member of DSA. And DSA, this is when they were just starting out in Denver. 2018 is after the Bernie movement. This is when AOC is running for her race. So Julie Gonzalez kind of comes into that wave, gets to the state Senate, and Democrats had just won the state Senate, and this is the year we got our trifecta. So we thought, like, hey, Democrats are going to do low-hanging fruit, just like a couple here and there things for, just the moderates and centrists. But Julie Gonzalez was always in the room making sure that they were fighting for the working-class people who were there really actually struggling, and making sure she was helping corporations feet to the fire, other people who, like lobbyists, corporate lobbyists, conservatives, who were trying to push the conversation in one way. She was oftentimes the lone voice pushing it a different way. So she's absolutely beloved in the state, especially by, I would say, Democrats all across the board. Like, you will see her speak at the state assembly. You'll see her speak in rural Colorado. different parts of I-25, the near mountains, and she's beloved. So, in the Democratic circles, she's really well known. But very excited for people beyond that to get to know her. But this is the Democratic primary first. And Hickenlooper is also really well known, but not always for the right reasons. I think people are like, oh, Hickenlooper has, all this name recognition, and everybody knows who Hickenlooper is. But we have to ask, why is that? And is all name recognition good? Hickenlooper, at the end of this next Senate term, is going to be over 80 years old. And I think Democrats need to actually take a page out of the Republicans' book and sort of look for younger leadership across the board. It's weird to look at the Republican Party and see that they have a bench of youthful candidates who are, you were talking about Turning Point USA, right? Like, they are actually engaging with young folks. And, Jeff, you've made this joke before where when you go to, like, a No Kings rally or something, and you see a lot of old folks. We need new energy in our base coming from, like, a Zoran type of run, an AOC type of run that engages young people, and that's Julie Gonzalez.
That's Singh Badhesha. He's a member of the Democrat Socialists of America. I saw that in an interview, Julie Gonzalez, who's primarying John Hickenlooper, kind of dropping that Democrat Socialists of America moniker. Do you think she's doing that in order to win? And is that being honest with the voters from your perspective?
I don't think that she's doing that in order to win or anything. I think she was just honestly telling her perspective is, DSA Denver, I think, went through, like, a lot of things during COVID, went through, like, a lull patch or patches where a lot of people were like, what's this organization doing? What's going on? So she was originally a member. Her membership lapsed, but during that time period, a lot of people's membership lapsed. Her door has always remained open for us. She's come to meetings before. We've never really had a strong program like DSA New York City did, where the elected officials are really directly involved in the chapter. So we've done a good job of being able to get people elected. But the next step that we're trying to figure out, too, is like, we've become more of an institution in this state and across the U.S., so we need to start facilitating what that policy and that political relationship looks like.
Do you think Julie Gonzalez is a socialist?
I think she has a lot of Democratic Socialist ideals and values, but this is the weird thing, right? I feel like sometimes we get stuck in these words between, like, capitalist versus socialist versus Marxist versus communist versus fascist. Everyone throws around these terms, but they just mean whatever you kind of want them to mean in the moment. There's this interesting speech where, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert were, like, on the floor of the U.S. House, and they were talking about the problems with crony capitalism, right? And they're like, crony capitalism's ruin everything. The companies are in bed with the government, and they're getting all these sweetheart deals, and it's all terrible. And then a more moderate Democrat goes up there, and they talk about late-stage capitalism. They're like, this is just like unregulated capitalism run amok. And then someone more lefty comes up there and just talks about capitalism and says this is all the problems. So I feel like everybody has a different name for what's going on, but for me, what's important is the values, and Julie Gonzalez has always championed those progressive values, always put working class people first, and I think it's going to be big. And the thing is, she's running against John Hickenlooper. And John Hickenlooper, yesterday I kind of, like, tweeted something that the issue with John Hickenlooper, he's literally everything that's wrong with the current Democratic Party. He's too old. He's too cautious. He's too willing to bend the knee to corporate interests. And I don't think Democrats are going to have that anymore, right? Everyone's like, it's impossible to beat someone who is the mayor, someone who is the governor, or someone who beat Cory Gardner. But I think it's very doable.
That's Singh Badhesha. So I guess when you say that John Hickenlooper's too cautious and you'd like to see from Julie Gonzalez more boldness, that would be higher taxes and more government control of the means of production, right? Which would make her a socialist.
I think we will want to see someone fight against this Trump administration that is overreaching into Americans' lives in a way that no one else has before, right? When we're talking about freedom for the working class, that means that folks that look like me, folks that are of ethnic backgrounds, can freely walk down their street without masked people coming and just pulling them off the street, without a warrant, without due process, without all that, right? I think we need someone who's actually going to fight for the freedoms of working class Americans so they can get jobs, so they can take care of their families, so they have health care, right? I think that's what Julie Gonzalez is going to do. And Hickenlooper, he went to the Senate, and he kind of wants to just hang out with other senators, wants to hang out with lobbyists and have a good time. But I think the actual biggest weakness that – actually, I would like to hear what Bill and you might have to think about this, but what do you think Hickenlooper's actually largest weakness is?
I think there are a couple. I mean, age is going to be one. Also, the idea of longevity. Like you were talking earlier about people in Congress needing to get younger blood. Most people that serve in Congress serve longer than a pope does. That's an issue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's an issue. So, but the question I've got is, and so I think that's going to be a problem, that and the fact that he's been given all this time and what has been accomplished. I think that's also going to be a problem for Michael Bennet. The question that I've got is, you're talking about, and I can see that younger voters are going to want someone younger, more energy, but does that necessarily equate to socialist? And where I see a potential minefield is you could run the right candidate with the right age and the right amount of energy, but possibly with the wrong political profile that could appeal to a statewide race, the manner in which you would have to, a Hickenlooper type of a thing. That's what I would be concerned about.
So I think what voters are wanting, first off, you hit the nail on the head when you said too old, and I'm going to tell you a couple of really fun insider stories about Hickenlooper being way too old and showing his age. But to answer the question on what voters want, and maybe it's not socialism, look at what Donald Trump is doing right now in the name of populism, right? He is taking large portions of American companies, saying, hey, this company is now 10% ours. U.S. Steel, this is ours now. Chip companies, this is ours now, right? He is literally taking this means of production and giving it to the American base. And what are Republicans doing? What is the MAGA base doing? They're cheering him on. He is taking billions and billions of dollars and he's going to give them to farmers to bail them out. What is that? That, again, is this populist thing that's basically socialist. So I think there is an appetite in the working class in America on both sides for an agenda where government's delivering for them. And I think that's what's going to really encourage youth to show up there. And everyone's calling this an affordability crisis, which it absolutely is. Whether Republicans address the affordability crisis or Zoran addresses the affordability crisis, someone's going to have to do it. And you saw in the White House that Zoran and Donald Trump, Jeff and I were joking that we were the trendsetters here, but between MAGA and DSA. But Trump and Zoran were getting along because they were like, oh, yeah, to the degree we actually believe that there's a problem here. I'm not sure how sincere Trump was with that, but, it's true. Now, to go back to Hickenlooper's thing, I think the biggest weakness that Hickenlooper has is, yes, he was voted for Trump too much, and that's going to hurt him with the Democratic base, but he is starting to show his age. So at the so every single county in Colorado has a Democratic dinner. So at the Jefferson County dinner, Hickenlooper went up there on stage, and he went out there without notes, and he was going to riff it I'm classic Hickenlooper. He went up there and started calling Ed Perlmutter Ed Schumacher to Ed Perlmutter's face over and over and over again, to the point where the crowd was even like, is this a bit? Or does he just not remember who Ed Perlmutter is, right? And it was so bad. It was so weird. People were recording this. The videos, I'm sure, are going to come out soon. But people are like, oh, Hickenlooper might not know where he is or who he's talking to. So much so that in a couple of weeks when he went to the Denver Dems County dinner, right, he had to go up there. And it's he went up there with a piece of paper and he says, the staff says I have to read off this piece of paper. And he was up there like Joe Biden was, reading hey, I'm John Hickenlooper. Thanks for coming. And it was this surreal moment that I'm looking around the room. I'm like, guys, is this the Joe Biden of Colorado? And the same thing is happening where I feel like when you're talking to his staff, when you're talking to other people in the Democratic Party, they're doing the same thing they did with Biden, where they're like, no, nothing to see here. He's fine. Yeah, this is a really, really old man, but nothing to see here. And I think that's going to become a huge, huge liability. And you saw what Democrats did with Biden.
That's Singh Badhesha with Democrat Socialists of America. Now, Deep, I guess what I appreciate that you point out, because I definitely disagree with you on the socialism thing. And I think as Colorado gets more progressive, it gets more expensive and the services get worse because of the government. You and I can disagree with that. But I think what I do appreciate you're pointing out with Hickenlooper and Bennett, these guys have been in combined 40 plus years in state government. And I think a lot of the interest in keeping them there are the special interests that benefit from their control of those guys. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so Bennett and Hickenlooper have essentially been running Colorado politics, especially the Colorado Democratic politics, since 2003, 2004, when Hickenlooper first started as Denver mayor and Michael Bennett was the chief of staff. So these two guys, who both went to Wesleyan, have been running this state for so long, right? And what they formed around this is this like consultant bubble, this lobbyist bubble, this special interest bubble, right? That gets these special access, this special privilege that runs them, that, I don't think has been benefiting the state, right? Like, Jeff, you were saying that, you were talking to Blake Olson earlier, and you were saying that, Democrats have been running the state and they've been running it into the ground. I actually don't think that the classic Democratic voter has been running this, right? What happens is there's a Democratic consultant base that selects people in primaries behind the scenes, and then people get like a false choice, right? The machine that's been running Denver has been running it for the oligarchs, has been running for the corporations, hasn't been running it for the working class people. And Hickenlooper and Bennett at the center of that. Even so much, you can actually go on, I think Denver posted this article, someone else did this article, but the consulting firm that Julie Gonzalez hired, Michael Whitehorn's new firm, he was getting calls from different people in the Democratic Party saying, hey, you shouldn't really take Julie Gonzalez as a client. Hey, you might get blacklisted. Hey, if you don't take her as a client, maybe we're going to give you something else down the line, right? These tactics are not just deployed in the Colorado Democratic Party, but the national party, right, to keep the actual, base away from politics. So when you feel that the Democrats are running the state, really, it's been a handful of consultants who've done that. And you've seen this over and over again, right? The backroom deal that got Bennett elected to the U.S. Senate. The backroom deals that were made when Hickenlooper jumped in against Cory Gardner and everybody else dropped out. You've seen the backroom deals when Bennett jumped in the governor's race and everybody endorsed him, but Phil Weiser's been brave enough to challenge Bennett. So I think there is enough of fed-upness in the Democratic Party that we have an opportunity to kick both Hickenlooper and Bennett to the curb. We'll see if that works out. I really hope it works out. I think, people are waking up to the fact that these guys have had control of Colorado for, 20 years, and it's not getting better, so let's give someone else new a shot.
Fascinating insight on where the true power lies here in Colorado, coming not from a conservative, but from a member of the Democrat Socialists of America. Very interesting. Deep Singh Badhesha, sure appreciate it. Congratulations again on the addition to your family, and thank you for taking time to join us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Would love to keep talking to people more. You can find me on the artist formerly known as Twitter, x.com. It's Deep Not Shallow. That's where you'll get these nice little leaks and hints in person.
What may actually end the career of John Hickenlooper and Michael Bennett, the socialists? Interesting.
Oh, who would have guessed?
Wow.
I did not have that on my bingo card today.
Yeah, and what's happened to Colorado? All right, join the conversation. Go ahead, Deep. One more time.
I just hung him up on.
Oh, dude. Sorry, Deep. We lost you there.
It's my fault, Deep. That's
we'll
right.
get to you some more next time. We've got to get to a break, but first, let's talk L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. Hey, folks, it's Jeff Hunt, and I want to talk to you about how great L&L Heating and Air Conditioning is delivering quality service and reliability to you. In Colorado, it's so unpredictable. One day it's 70 and sunny. The next day you're reaching for that thermostat. L&L Heating and Air Conditioning is the team I trust. They've helped Colorado families stay comfortable for years with honest pricing, reliable service, and that small-town integrity that's hard to find. Right now, they're offering a furnace system evaluation for just $59.95. And if another company's trying to sell you something big, L&L will give you a complimentary second opinion so you can make the right call. And here's a bonus. With any new furnace or AC installation, You'll get a free programmable thermostat or carbon monoxide detector, plus no trip fees, next day installations, and 100% satisfaction guaranteed. They even offer military first responder and senior discounts because at L&L, they really do treat you like family. So when it's too hot or too cold, don't wait. Call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning or visit bestdenverhvac.com. bestdenverhvac.com. Trust me, you'll be comfortable with L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. Joe, you'll be up next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show, folks. We have a great suggestion for you. All right, if you are racing to figure out what to do for the holidays, for the outdoorsman, Second Amendment advocate in your life, you got to go check out the Gun Room. Absolutely fantastic company, great location out there in Lakewood. They've been around for a while. In fact, they might be the oldest gun shop in Colorado, still operating since around 1982. This is like classic Colorado when you walk in to the Gun Room. Go to denvergunroom.com. They're out there in Lakewood. Gun Room isn't just another shop. These guys know their stuff, but most importantly, they're friendly. Because if you're like me, you're a Second Amendment supporter, but you're not a pro that can dive into all the different calibers. So sometimes you walk into a gun shop and you're like, what? I feel totally out of my element. What's going on? They're friendly. They're patient. And they've helped me on more than one occasion rather than just saying, hey, go in that direction. So whether you're a serious collector or someone who hasn't picked up a firearm since Uncle Bob's backyard in 98, they'll make you feel welcome. And they've got gift cards. This will be a hit. Absolutely a hit. So go to denvergunroom.com or give them a call at 303-237-1300. And if you've got used guns that you want to sell, they'll help you. Maybe somebody in your family has moved on to glory. They got a big collection. You don't know what to do with it. They'll come in, offer you a fair deal on it. Take that all off your hands. Wayne at the Gun Room, fantastic guy. Go check him out. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Joe in Arvada. Good morning, Joe. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hi, Jeff, Billy. As soon as I heard this, I was inspired by the great Maharishi. His legend lives on. Operation Colorado Communist Chaos. We switch to unaffiliated and we vote for Julie Gonzalez. And then when she gets the primary win, we switch to a campaign of something like New York has a man dummy communist. We don't need a woman dummy communist here in Colorado.
That's a good line. I got to give you credit for that. That is a good line. That is a very good line.
Now, Joe, what do you think her chances are?
It depends. There's going to be a lot of progressives that vote for her, for sure. Now, is unaffiliated going to vote for her in the primary? No. And that's where Colorado communist chaos works. If we can get her across the finish line, we could beat her, hopefully. Otherwise, I know Colorado's a communist dumpster fire, but have we gone that far?
I'm bearish on all this. I think that Colorado is more progressive than at any point. I think it's the most progressive state in the nation. I know it's the most anti-Christian state in the nation. And when I go down to these rallies, they're huge. 30,000. Bernie Sanders. I think this is a socialist state. I think it's deep, deep blue, and Julie Gonzalez has a good shot at this.
Yeah, I'm curious personally the weight of the term socialist and how that is going to be used inside of both the primary and the general. And Jeff has a lot more experience than I do on this one as far as running campaigns. But you always talk about as a candidate, you want to define yourself, but you also want to go out there and try to define your opponent before they get an opportunity to. So I really feel that with Gonzalez, how she is going to use that term socialist, if she does at all, and how that's defined is going to be vitally important. If I was on Hickenlooper's reelection campaign staff right now, that would be my target, is I would be trying to define her already in a manner that is unpalatable to the Colorado voters, and that may, if she wins the primary, carry over into the general, because that, I think, is going to be the most important part, especially with older voters, because just the term socialism carries a lot more weight than it does with younger voters. And remember, as we all know here, it is the older voters that show up more often. The young kids can be enthusiastic about it, they don't show up as much. So that could be a real breaking point.
Well, I'll tell you this: if she wins, we need a populist to come out and run against her. Let me give you an example. Somebody like Peyton Manning or John Elway. I know he might not be interested, but neither would maybe Peyton Manning.
I don't think either one of them wants to take a pay cut. That's the thing. It's going to take a pay cut at that
sit in
point.
committee meetings. Good night. But you
Well,
get to be
to
a
save
senator.
Colorado, they might do it. They
Yeah.
might save Colorado. It's just like, why did President Trump win? He's a billionaire. Did he need to? No, he did it to save America.
Yep,
Everybody
Joe,
that
I
doesn't think
appreciate
so.
it. Thank
man.
you for
Yeah,
the call.
that's a good
That's
point.
Joe from Arvada. We'll continue. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Man, if you missed any of it, go to 710knus.com to download the podcast. Jeff Crank joined us during the 6 o'clock hour. The debate over healthcare spilled into the 7 o'clock hour. A young student from Colorado State University, part of the Turning Point chapter up there, spit upon and harassed by members of the Democrat Socialists of America, and then one joined us in the 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock hour.
I thought that 8 o'clock conversation was really interesting because it happened at CSU. And we're talking about Fort Collins, which if we would put it on the spectrum of universities here in Colorado, it's not on the super lib side. I wouldn't put it as technically a conservative outlet, but it's more agrarian. It draws a lot of kids from rural areas. Now, there are a lot of kids that come from the city in Denver and Springs and places like that and elsewhere, but it is more agrarian, and it's definitely going to be more conservative than somewhere like a DU or somewhere like a CU. But the pushback and what he saw there was really shocking, especially some of the stuff he heard from teachers. It's really shocking.
I think all those institutions are lib indoctrination factories, but the debate will continue tomorrow. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. Again, podcast 710knus.com. Bill and I have to go get ready for the Salem Christmas party. All right, you're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
I'm not going to share the inappropriate thing that just went through my mind. I hope you have a great Wednesday. This is KNUS.